Okay, so welcome to the third part of this the XML HTTP request tutorials about AJAX, okay, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, but we're not using XML, we're just going to be using text. Okay, so I left you with sending the first request back, and I explained that we got then the status of 200, then the status text of OK, and it took 14 milliseconds, and then it showed down here each ready state 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now something which I did skip over really quickly is the response which I got from the server is the time is then the date and then the time. Okay, just a quick thing to note, if you do see the -5 degrees, it's cold here, by the way. Alright, just to point out, you can see that it's -5. I'm cold. Okay, so important thing to note is that in here you see the two post variables which we sent. The first underscore name with the value of David, and then the post surname with the value of Thorn. Okay, and this is the actual data which got sent. Now I want to explain something which is relevant to this. So before we talk about the ready states, okay, an HTTP the HTTP protocol is built up of a couple of things. Okay, and when the first packet gets sent, okay, the request, which is what we're doing, we're sending the request method. It sends first of all which type it's sending. In this case, we're sending a post request, and then it says HTTP, and then it says after this then 1.1, I believe it's 1.1. Yep. And then it says the file that it's going to use, and in this case it's then AJAX.php. Okay, and if you're interested in learning anything more about the HTTP request or the HTTP protocol, let's then come to here. Then you can see here, okay, this is kind of important. This is well worth, this one's definitely not worth a read. Where is it? We can see if we can get the actual protocol itself. Let's go for wiki, shall we? Okay, this is kind of relevant to understand which information is getting sent back. Now let's see if there's an example of this. Okay, so sorry, I got it the wrong way around. This is it here. Okay, although that says get. Okay, and I never use this, but if you use sockets and stuff, then you can use it. Okay, as you can see here, that the type of request being sent back in this example is the get request. Now we're sending back the post request and the file that it's sending back to, and then the protocol type, saying that it's an HTTP protocol of version 1.1. okay, so that's the first line that gets sent back. Now it then is followed then by a carriage return and new line, okay, or CRLF. Okay, it's then done that. Then it goes to the next line, and then it then continues. It will then potentially get a request back from the server saying, hey, 200, then the status 200 okay from the server. It will then continue to potentially send then all of the headers with it, like content type, okay, and then it have a semicolon after it, and it will then say what the content type is. And in this example, it was then form. Oh, it was, sorry. See, I told you I get it wrong every single time. Every single time. Potentially like this, and then like URL encoded like this. Then it have this once again, and then it will do any other headers which it needs to send. Now let's just copy this. Actually, let's then let's just write it out. So then content length will be something like, say, 15, or whatever the content length is. Now this will then do a return carriage return new line. It will then, okay, once this is finished, it will then leave a line. Okay, it will leave a blank line, and it will send any data after it like this. Okay, and then Thorn like that. Okay, so what it's doing is it's reading this data, and it's searching for potentially this carriage return new line. So it's on the end of this one, it'll have another carriage return new line to make this new line. And when it finds this carriage return line feed, okay, then it will know anything after that is then the body, okay, the body text. And what the server does is potentially takes this and then separates it by ampersands, then separates it by equal sign, then puts that into the puts this first name into the post super globals, and then the surname into the post super globals, sets the value of this, and so on. So that's potentially what's being sent over. So when we're setting these set request header, this is what we're setting, okay, and this is what we're sending. So we're sending over a message to the server, setting data. Now it's kind of important to understand how this works. Now the ready states, I'm no expert in these protocols in the background, okay, but if you read up about them, then it's kind of an interesting topic actually to do with web development if you know a little bit more about them. I mean, I've got the HTTP manual here, which I read every now and again if and when I want to work with sockets and stuff like that. But these are the ready states which they're going to loop through, which the XML HTTP request is going to loop through. Okay. Now 0 being that basically nothing's happened, the open method has not been called. Okay. So prior to whoops, oh, why do I keep doing that? Prior to us calling the open method here, okay, the ready state is equal to 0. Okay. Upon us calling this, it's then going to go, why do I keep doing that? It's then going to go to 1. Okay. Now, as long as it's got a connection established, it will be set to 1. Okay. So potentially it's connected to the server, okay, and it's ready to send the file request. Okay. Now, if it's been opened but the send method has not been called, okay, so it will then go to 1. So all of the I need to stop doing that. All of these things here are just building up, ready to do the send. Okay. This data is going to get sent on the send. Okay. So although this is opening the connection up with the server, once we've then got this socket open, then we can start sending more data to the server. Okay, did it again. Okay, then 3, some data has been received. So the server has received some data from us, but we are waiting then for the response from the server. So in other words, we're waiting for the PHP file to do its thing and then send back this data. So once, potentially when it hits 3, it's reading through this one file. Now once it's finished this one file, and then the Apache server then sends back the data, once the data is back on the client side, okay, as in it's back at the browser as such, it's back at your JavaScript file, it will then be set to ready state is equal to 4. Okay. Now if all is good up until after 1, okay, then the status will be 200. Okay, so potentially the status gets set here, okay, at ready state 1. So you can check already at ready state here. But what you want to check to know is that you get ready state 4, status of 2, and status text of OK. Okay, now if you're going to get a page for, if you're going to get a status of 4 or 4, page not found, it's going to go at 1. It's still going to loop through 2, 3 and 4 ready states, okay, but you're not going to do anything from there. If it can't find the file, then you're never going to be able to do anything further, although it will go through the ready states of 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do right now is, on here we're then going to basically just say in here, so xhr.readyStates is equal to 4 and xhr.readyStates, oh sorry, status is equal to 200. Okay, then console.log, and we're going to say status text. Alright, so we're going to run this again now and see the status text. So let's come to here let's click it again, and as you can see we get this. Now if we copy this quickly and we change this to ready state 1 and status of equal to 200, okay, now we're interested to see whether we get this status text once again. Okay, so let's refresh this to reload the JavaScript, do it again. Okay, we only get 1. Okay, so we're not getting a status at that one point, okay, which is fine. So if we get ready state 1, but maybe actually if we change that, let's undo this, because maybe on 1 it's still sending, but on 2 we should have had 2, the send method has been called. Okay, so we should have had a status. So let's just, rather than do this, let's come down here. I've never tested this much, to be honest with you. I'm doing this on the fly at the moment, but ready state is 2. No, normally all you need to do is this. This is enough, okay? And to do ready state is equal to 1 to see whether you got a status of 4 or 4, okay? But this is enough potentially. Okay, so let's come to here. Let's refresh this again. So we're only testing for ready state 2. Okay, and as you can see on ready state 2 we got the OK and 200. Okay, so so we know that by 2 we've already got the status of 200 and the status text of OK and the status of 200. Okay, so we know that the connection was made. Okay, now on 3 some data has been received, however neither the response text nor the response body is available. Therefore it's on the server side and it's processing the data. At potentially 3 then there's nothing really to be done. Okay, yeah, and as long as you receive some data, then all the data has been received. Now some data has been received. Now this is the thing, is that if we check now status 3, okay, now if ready state 3, and we'll put in the status text, yeah, no, we'll just leave it as that. And when we come to the server, if we then comment out this echo, alright, so nothing's going to be sent back. Let's see whether we get this status 3. Okay, so let's just change this to show that we're on ready state 3. Okay, so it's a little bit more visible that we're on ready state 3. So let's refresh this now. And although everything working fine, we don't get a ready state 3, okay, because the server or the client on the JavaScript did not receive any data. So let's come back to our AJAX.php, uncomment this time, refresh it, so now we're sending back this is the time, click on save data, and as you can see here we now get a ready state 3. Now as shown here we got, let's copy this to show you that we get ready state 4. Okay, so ready state 4 is there, and let's then put also then the xhr.response text. This is actually the body of the text that we're getting sent back. Let's refresh this again, press save data. Okay, now you can see that the OK of 200 was on then the ready state 2, and then we got ready state 3, it's OK 200 again. Okay, but then you see on ready state 4 we got OK, the time is now this. So you can see when it's going to get ready state 3. So if the server didn't send back any data, okay, or you got a null request in return. So that's once again to show you, if we comment out this and say you run a function that you were just going to return the data on a function call. So let's just say test, okay, and then return null. Okay, let's just say for example the test failed in your function, okay, and we're just going to say echo test. Alright, so we did this big long test in our I'm not going to call this test, I'm going to call this server side function. Okay, so we did this test in our server side function, okay, and this long test, long test on the server side, and it returned null because the data was wrong or the data wasn't there, and so we're echoing the response of whatever this one server-side function actually returns. Okay, so let's save that. We don't need to refresh this browser, the browser, because it's on the server side. Click here, and as you can see here, we don't get ready state 3, although we're echoing out the response from this. We're echoing something out, but because we're echoing out null, it's nothing. Okay, on PHP it's just a word. Okay, it's a 4-letter word, but potentially it's nothing at all, so no data's ever gone back. Now if we sent back null and then return carriage return and then new then line feed, let's see what we get now. Never tested this before, but let's see what we get now. Okay, now we get something. Okay, all we got was a line feed, alright, but that was enough. That was enough for the server to read something that even though it was a blank line, it got a blank line. So you can test, hey, did I get any response whatsoever? Before you start passing JSON or anything like that on ready state 4, you can already test, hey, was there a ready state 3? Did we get any text? If we didn't, hey, give up. Don't bother doing anything. Right, so it's important to note what the different ready states do and how they can be affected. Now, so in other words, on ready state 1, if you get a status of 4 or 4, okay, now the question is can you test on the ready state 1 what the response test is? Let's just chuck out on ready state 1 the XHR, okay, so we can see what we're going to get. All right, so let's do a refresh of here and then do this. Okay, so this is all the data that we're getting on here. Let's move this up. So you can see that we're getting ready state 4. Okay, that's because it's looped through everything. But then the response text was then the carriage return line feed and so on. And then we got a 200. But let's now change this AJAX.php to AJAX.php and now see what happens. Okay, so let's just refresh this, go to console, click this, and as you can see here now, we've got the response state not found 4 or 4. But can we capture anything? We see that we got this one here, but can we? Oh, what did we get on this? So we got ready state 4, status equals 4 or 4. Can we get? So we want status is equal to 4 or 4. Okay, now we check to see. So we're checking to see whether we got ready state 1 and status is equal to 4 or 4. So let's refresh, go back to console, save data. Okay, so we didn't get it on that one at that one point. So we need to potentially check it on 2, because 2 is that the send method has been called. Okay, no data is available. I mean, okay, it's a bit stupid really. We want it on 1. But at least here, this is what we're outputting. That's correct. Okay, sorry, I keep flicking backwards and forwards so quickly. Okay, so we want 4 or 4 not found. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Okay, so this is what we're going to see. So you can test on ready state 2 to see whether you got 4 or 4 not found. Okay, but you could test on ready state 3 as well. But I'm just showing you at which level you could test for possible errors. Okay, now you know from Firebug that you're going to get errors because this is going to come up with 4 or 4. Okay, but this is potentially it never gets to here because it's a status of 200. Okay, so we could test it here, but why test at ready state 4 when we can test at ready state 2? You see what I mean? It's a precautionary measure before any of our code does something. Now we could throw an exception here. Okay, that's enough of this one. I'm then going to go on to the next tutorial to start actually sending some data back. Although we have sent some data back, and this one tutorial should be borderline enough to understand what it is that you're doing. Okay, but we'll leave it and we'll just set this all back so it all works perfectly fine once again. Okay, let's just come here, press save data. Okay, everything's fine. We've got our response which was nothing, so let's set this one back. and let's echo this out, and let's get rid of our server-side function. Okay, and come back to here, send it, and we got the response come back and the headers. Okay. Okay, so I'll see you in the next tutorial. Okay, and we can delve a little bit deeper into the XML HTTP request. Thanks. Bye.